Hello, and welcome back to another session of Roll for Story, the Diamond Soul arc. There are a lot of players down tonight, so we're just gonna do a little bit of chill, sort of rehearsals. The party are sort of preparing their acts for this Earth Genasi, this Great Khan talent show, which is practically tomorrow, in fact. So you have like 1 day to sort of prepare your final act. The acts themselves will all be performing at the same time, and you have to try and gain the attention of the Great Khan whilst maintaining composure should the other acts distract or uh, sub- subvert you. It's you're not allowed to directly influence the other acts, but it seems that big flashes and tremors are all fair game, as long as it's not something that's direct. But you are suddenly you found yourself at the actual stage itself. The Great Khan has got these big cushions on the in the center of this platform, and around that platform is a disc segmented into 6 stages. And I'm gonna drag you to the actual map so you can have a little closer look. And I'm gonna turn off lighting. You don't need vision for this. There you go. Cool. So there you see the 6 sections. Each one is kind of about 100 foot by 75 foot, roughly. I know it doesn't quite look it on the map. I need to change the scale of it. But I guess there's a model version. So you can see the big sets of staircases that lead down onto the stage. You got these stands kind of go up in like almost like a massive amphitheater. And the cavern itself is gigantic, probably rising up several hundred feet before it reaches the ceiling. And yeah, you've basically got free reign. The actual stage itself is also raised up off the ground slightly by about 10 feet. And you can actually see there are several doors to the understage. They're very small on the map, but they're there. There's about four of them. There's like one in each quarter, basically. And yeah, you can get a sense of scale once you kind of actually stand on the stage itself. When you look around, you're completely surrounded by these stands in every direction. And the lighting in here is provided by a massive central crystal that's basically a reverse pillar. It's like a stalactite from the ceiling, and at the tip of that is this brilliant gem beaming out enough light that it kind of illuminates this entire cavern. And
Type
there are
of gem
several
is this?
small. These are the same type of gems that you've seen atop the other pillars. They're kind of it's hard to see the gem itself, but it's got a slight amberish color,
That's no good
but it's
then.
so bright that it's mostly just light, but there's just a slight red hue to it.
No, Andy, you can't steal it.
Wasn't going to try to.
I reckon it would fit in the bag of holding.
This one's massive.
Maybe
Like if I started at the bottom and sort of like worked my way up.
Maybe if we had like a portable hole, or if we had the mansion, we could probably get it through the front door.
I don't know if the mansion could angle that way. You'd have to cut it off first.
Yeah. Right. So
Either way, it's not the gem we're looking for.
nope. So, Karius considers this for a moment, and he's just
yeah,
like,
Doshi is with you. He says
just
that.
looks to Doshin, just like, is there anything against me being in the central platform where the Khan is going to sit, so I can sort of observe from a calm point of view to point stuff out?
I believe those rugs and carpets are probably off limits.
What if I just
You
float above them?
that should be acceptable. Yeah, you
Right.
just don't want to upset the Khan's groove.
Yep.
Just
You never want to throw off the Emperor's groove.
Beware the groove.
yeah.
Right. In which case, is there anything, Andy, you need from me for this performance? Or you gonna got your ideas ready?
Don't think there is anything you can help with.
Well, he might be able to help with mimicking like the storm. He can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we could use some weather effects.
Okay. Might not be able to help with those in the actual performance because reasons.
Yeah, I didn't think you would be allowed to.
Well, it's more I might have other duties.
How much was in the note? I can't remember.
It was basically just like I've been given a task to do. It was like very basic, like
Very vague. Okay.
yeah, just
You
that.
also mentioned something might go down.
Yeah, something
during-
might go down, so be on your guard, sort of thing.
Okay.
But right, in which case,
Maybe don't offer to help if you cannot actually help.
no, I meant like help with setup or anything, not setup, not help during the actual performance. You know, like
No, we've got the guys making all like the backgrounds and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we're
you've got
pretty
lots
much
of-
good to go, so.
But if you do need help from anyone, Taklo is available. Because
okay.
Duly noted.
that's where I can keep an eye on things up here, and if I'm not here. But anyway,
So you see
Karius,
Kesh'an, Elias, they begin preparing their acts, and you can see they are summoning different illusions. They're practicing using mold earth to raise these kind of walls and pillars out of the ground. And yeah, generally they're just kind of going through act by act how they're going to do this.
Joshi, how tall is the Khan? Like, if
Oh,
he's
I-
sitting on top of it, how high is he going to be off the ground? High level.
I would say. Well, at least he stands at least probably at least 20 feet tall. I would. Some say that he's a giant stature. Some say that he's not even a Dao anymore. That he has ascended to like godhood. But
Okay.
it's
So,
people have.
so if I hover about 20 feet up, I'll be at his eye level?
I should think so. Yeah.
Right. Karius is going to position himself there. He's got to have Taklo for now, unless Taklo is required. Sit on the back of his head as if like he has multiple eyes. It's just like
Funny enough, as you kind of raise up about that level, you realize you're probably only about 10 feet above the actual stage level. Because this section is like beneath the stage.
okay, so this is actually like
It's like a dugout.
yeah, so it's
It's-
dug down and then the
That's
cushions are there, and because of his height he's like okay, interesting.
That's right. Yeah, I know the shadow makes it look like it's above, but I tried to get rid of that. Couldn't.
Well, I'm just going to imagine that the shadow is actually the sides of the wall.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah, there is actually a wall you can see.
Right.
A small one that separates the council, he says. This inner disc is for the council, I believe.
Right. Okay.
In which case, I need to make this.
Quick question: Can we pick what segment we perform in?
I, I think you are assigned segments. So far, I'm aware that Kesh'an and Elias are on this one, and I believe you are on
Which
the
one?
opposite side, the left.
So
The
you
left
two are
side.
over here.
So I believe you must be on the right. as you are assigned as opposites. Is that to your liking?
Obviously not.
No, like
What difference does it make?
maybe some, maybe none. I have a theory, but it could just be good luck.
Oh,
I'd kind of like, I'm just gonna. No, what the? I can't move any of the tokens apart from my own and Andy's. But I kind of want to put Elias and Kesh'an here.
hold on.
What do I want it the other way around? Hold on. I think it's that way around. Yeah.
Alright, I'm changing this scene a little bit. Yeah.
Oh god.
Sorry, right, okay. I'm trying to get it to the accurate size about this. Massive. Okay, so you wanted to be on this side.
So yeah, where Andi and Eirina already are is where I'd like them to be, and then Elias, Kesh'an in the one to our right.
I believe Elias and Kesh'an are definitely assigned on opposite segments. I know that much.
Who
So
makes
if
that
you were
rule?
there, then you guys would be here.
Seriously, who made that rule up?
I'm guessing, is it something like they want to keep people competing on the same side as far apart so they can't interweave their things and get an advantage?
I don't know. All I know is that those are the segments you have been assigned. That's a bit more accurate now. The stage, yeah, stage is 75 by 100 feet. Cool.
Right. Okay, the scale definitely helps.
These stairs leading down about 20 feet wide to allow basically like two Dao side by side coming down. Speaking of, there are a number of Dao around that are kind of overwatching things. The basic like security effectively. And there was other people just preparing things in the stands, cleaning, making sure the earth is stable enough to support the weight of however many people are coming. But
I do have one question.
yes,
Is there any kind of rules in terms of what magic is allowed to be used? Like, is there any spells that are banned from this competition for any reason?
I should hope that whatever spells you use are to aid and enhance your performance.
Yes, but like in the past, has there been anything that people have done which we need to be aware of so we make sure we don't do it ourselves?
The past? There has
Yeah,
no
like if there's
been no
been some
past.
kind of a certain spell or something someone has cast to purposefully try and entice the audience to them in a more psychological way rather than their talent, if you will.
I believe this is the first of its kind. This talent show is sort of an experiment in of itself. As such,
Okay.
I believe everything is allowed on the table. I've heard no
Okay.
limitations on certain spells or types
Right,
of magic.
okay. Okay.
The audience themselves will not be judging, but a series of Dao in this council ring, and then, of course, the Great Khan himself.
I mean,
Sorry.
just out of curiosity, how much do you know about spells that can charm? I mean, just to be safe, because of course, if any of the other competitors use some kind of magic like that to try and sway their vote with them, then it could be seen as cheating. And should be all fair is fair, right? I just want to make sure that we are on a safe ground level, because if there is no rules whatsoever, it could mean that someone could really mess the rest of us up by casting some very strong charm to sway the decision.
You are quite astute at deciphering this sort of competition. I would say that
I'm a musician by trade, and I know how to cast some of these spells, and I would want it to be a fair playing game. So,
indeed there are definitely several judges here in this ring that will be overseeing each segment. So I would assume that if someone were to cast a spell, the others would have noticed. It is most likely that others are also aware of such spells and will recognize when a charm is being cast, specifically if it is cast on a judge themselves. The
Okay.
Great Khan is also one of great inscrutable intellect. He has risen to the top, not through bloodline or through wealth, but through his own intelligent, strategic rise. Sort of I believe the Great Khan started as an entrepreneur. Nonetheless, he is no stranger to such magics, and will
well,
likely be on the lookout for things
good,
of
good. I
that
just
such.
wanted to make completely sure. And she'll walk
Hmm.
off and she'll turn around to Eirina and she's like, shit! And walks off even further.
Yeah, I think you'll also recount a story as well, just mentioning that he is. Some people have tried to gain his favor in the past, and it seems as though such spells simply wash over him. He's almost as immovable as the stone itself, alluding to the fact that he's most likely got stuff like legendary resistances.
Yeah, I figured as much, but she was trying
Yeah.
to play it in a kind of, this is an equal playing ground, right?
Oh.
There is going to be judges pointing out for this kind of thing, sort
Yes.
of thing.
Individual judges, though, might not be as protected.
But so long as that it's being kept an eye on. And that means she can't do it either herself.
Unless you're
Well, you could
really
always...
sneaky about it.
Yeah,
As
that's
I
the
say,
other
not
thing.
in an
Maybe
obvious manner.
Yeah, I'm not
Trying to
about to
just-
try and do that and then we get disqualified.
I mean, you and me aren't really doing it for the win. We're doing it for another reason.
Yeah, no, but you have to done the rest of your life.
I can dimension door out. I'm not sticking around this joint.
you look around Eirina and you realize just how huge the arena is. And to dimension door, I know it's about what, 300 feet?
500, I think, for Dimension Door.
Is it 500? I always think it's 300 for some reason. It would only just get you out of the stadium, basically. And of course, doesn't dimension door you... Hold on, let me...
Dimension.
Basically, some things you would need to account for with dimension door is that you're not teleporting into Earth, like just straight Earth. It's 500 feet, yeah.
I was half joking when I said it.
I mean, you can't take anything as a joke in this place because it's
But then you were
anything
half
can go
serious.
down, and you might need to
Maybe not.
utilize any spell at any time. But I will say though, yeah, if you wanted to try and have a little scout out and see which side has more room than others and such, basically you get a lay of the land, so that if you were to use it in the middle of this, you wouldn't just teleport into solid Earth.
Well,
You
I'm gonna go
teleport
and have
out.
a look at the underneath the stage sort of situation. Like,
Yeah, okay, sure. So you go underneath there if you want. Little door on the section somewhere.
you said there's 4 doors. Do they all connect, or
There's 4 doors, one in each kind of quarter of the circle, and they do all connect to an underside of the stadium, yes. The underside is you've got this massive kind of like granite basin, but you've got there's 2 sections with sets of stairs. One section is underneath the stage, and then the stairs lead down to an underside of the what's it called? The Great Khan's seating area, we'll call it. the judge area.
Like there's a
And
gap. Like there's room underneath him, or is that pillared out?
There's room enough underneath the disc of judges.
And there's no like secret trapdoors that people have put in and things like that before we've arrived.
No trapdoors, no. So you got to imagine with Earth Genasi, the floors and walls to them are as easily accessible as doors and windows. When you look at our kind of architecture, there's no reason why they would even put walls and
No,
doors
but
in
what I
place.
mean is obviously if this is beneath the stage, the people performing might have trapdoors set up for like special effects reasons and stuff like that.
Sure, but like I say, if they wanted to make a trapdoor, they could as easily pass through the floor as they would if there was a trapdoor there, right?
Yeah, but like not all the performers are down, is what I'm saying, and we already
True.
know that.
Then you would need to set that up ahead of time.
That's what I'm asking. Have they done that or not?
No, you need. Doshi says this is why you've been given a segment so that you can effectively organize these things yourself.
Okay.
And your segments are over here. And this is Kesh'an and Elias's. And you can already see Kesh'an and Elias, what they do is beneath the stage they set up a number of pillars and walls that they're basically going to rise up out of the below the stage so that it's already kind of ready for them. They don't have to think about molding it. They're just going to rise the floor up out of the ground in sections. Does that make sense? You see, for this section next to you, there's a number of Dao, and they are moving incredibly large boulders, and they look like they've been roughly hewn. They're not something that's been carved or anything. They're just probably plucked from the earth itself, and they look like they're being dumped onto the stage one by one. So what is your act, by the way? Are you keeping that close to your chest?
So our performance is less about winning and more about potentially getting the attention of Andy's dad if he's in the audience or also performing, to let him know that it's her. We are literally going to be performing the story of like her parents like stealing her away from the Sultan sort of situation, and then the whole thing about the storm separating them all.
Well,
Which is why we requested a ship.
I mean, if you...
And a box.
And a box.
I mean...
I'm not burying someone at sea, I promise.
I mean, if you think about it, going from what we know of the Sultan, that could play into their favour anyway, because obviously you're stolen from essentially fire, then shown the treachery of water and air, and then you've ended up in Earth, which is home, so that could play nicely.
Never thought of it that way. Huh.
Karius, he's already thinking of the marketing opportunities. Because apparently that's just what he does in various situations now. Just like,
To be fair, that is literally the job you were born and raised to do.
Yeah, it's literally
like marketing.
It's just like, yes. So you could definitely play onto those things. Obviously.
So he's assuming that Andy's father is here.
Yeah, but if he's not, he might hear
Word will
about.
get round at
Yeah,
least.
exactly.
Yeah, he might hear about the performance if he came down here for another diamond.
It's the only way we can think of to try and even start getting in touch.
Do you think maybe we should also think maybe get some posters made and just stick them around down here, like wanted, name of Andy's father. Find.
I don't know, but like I dig
Not
into my bag and I pull out the mustachioed version of the wanted poster of Andy's mother with its mustache and its monocle.
Yeah.
I mean,
All-
I could probably make some up. It's not.
I mean, but then again, we're not planning to stay in one place for too long, so it's not like he'd just be able to say, meet us at this address.
Also, we don't really know what he looks like. Well, Andy does, obviously, but like.
Well,
You do. You've seen him.
But he's a clone now. He could look different. He might have severe like face altering scars. You don't know. He could be bald in this version.
he may have. There may have been a mix up with some of the DNA. Maybe he's a tiefling now.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why that was the first race I came up. Well, I know that's my race, but that's
That's the reason why you came up with it first.
possibly could even be a goblin.
Or he could be that old man I punched.
Exactly.
But. Oh, but. Anyway, you see enough of these boulders have been lined up now. And the Dow just seems to exit the stage. They look like they're, the Dow themselves are just an organizer.
Karius is just like, are those boulders or are they those living boulders that they told us about? He's almost... Taklo, go have a look, but don't actually touch. Taklo's just got to
Okay.
fly over and have a closer look.
Yeah, you can give me an investigation check.
Investigation, that's intelligence, right?
Yep.
Always forget that one.
They look like boulders. Just rock.
Now, just big rocks, and
Yeah.
little rocks, and a really big rock.
What's
Yeah.
Looks like
There's,
they're going to invest in some rock and roll.
Yeah, it looks like kind of sandstone or yeah, no, sandstone. Looks like also the same material that the stage is kind of made out of.
So, with your performance, Andy, how far into the story are you planning to go? Are you going to go as far as like your defeat of the Sultan, or?
No. We haven't got time to make it that long.
It's not an epic saga.
No. It's mainly just about what happened while I was a baby.
The whole actually, I'm trying to remember if you only mentioned that to Eirina, the whole one thing splitting into two vision you had. I think it was.
I'm sure everyone was told. I'm sure she passed it on to everyone.
Yeah, that could be a really interesting tale. I mean, it's got a lot of epicness, adventure, theft, breaking the law. That's always good. People, you know, you trying to push yourselves as like this daring sort of, well, it's like raiders sort of thing and this baby being you is like this ancient treasure almost that you're trying to steal away from the evil of the fire genasi.
Well, the thing is
I
that
thought you were going to say Fire Lord for a moment.
I was really tempted.
obviously the Andi in question is obviously born of a particular fire flame. So
True.
we could represent her with fire, which obviously.
True. Ah, yes, your boat has arrived, seemingly.
At the
This
boat?
is the well, we've yet to put the sails on and everything.
Karius just sort of goes. Karius flies over and it's just like, I realise this isn't going on water, but I still want to make sure it's shipshape. He's just got to investigate being a sailor.
How accurate of a boat is this? Like, how big is it? And
so it looks like a giant rowboat, and it looks like just the base of it. It looks like they've just kind of whipped it together very quickly, from parts that they found. It's not a complete thing yet. They're working on it right as we speak. In fact, there's other parts that they've got to assemble, like the masts. They haven't even got the sails sorted yet. So it's just the very base sort of prop version of it. And they say like we are.
Anything fancy.
It will.
I
do you want
just
to
reach
change?
over and I pat the helmsman shield on my back, just like, I wonder if I could make it work.
Why would we
Well-
need it to work?
Because that could be an interesting effect for it to sail around.
I mean, if we put wheels on it, maybe it could move.
Well, it's actually just been wheeled on as it is.
Yeah.
So it has got wheels technically.
Or
Because they didn't just drag this thing on. It's kind of on a trolley, like on a platform.
Or if we had water, you could actually use the wave bender to, get some water in place, make it move.
I don't know that they'd appreciate that down here.
Yeah.
It's fine, it was just a thought. If I wanted to try that.
You could. Totally, if you wanted. I mean, what does it say on the the shield?
Let me have a look, hold on. I haven't used it in such a long time, but
It doesn't.
Even the last time we did use it was probably when we were actually sailing rather than flying.
whilst attuned to the shield, you gain proficiency with water vehicles. So boats.
It is, yeah.
5 charges regains all expended charges each dawn. While wielding the shield, you can expend 4 charges to cast Control Water. Alternatively, you can expend 1 charge as an action to attempt to gain control of a water vehicle you can see within 300 feet of you, and that has a rudder.
It sounds like it's called the Helmsman Shelter, by the way. I
Yeah.
changed that. So nothing's on it says anything about it being on water. It just says gain control of a water vehicle.
That's what made me think, okay, it might work. We'll see. I may or may not use it. It depends on how things go.
Well, Dashi says, well, this is rehearsal.
No, I don't talk in front of Doshi, remember? He doesn't know I can talk. I am mute. I am a mime.
Okay, Chris says to you, this is rehearsal, so if you wanted to try something, now's the time to try it. Don't wait until the day and either find out it doesn't work or does.
I don't know who's watching. I don't want to give away all our secrets.
There's no one else around except Elias and Kesh'an.
Can I have a scope around just to make sure?
So she does say that he's booked a certain slot for you.
Yeah, but still, it's like someone could be spying.
Like, Andi can turn invisible. Like, I what's to say someone else can't be in the wall?
Tremor.
So I'll wait until
I mean,
they're finished.
You can
and
go
then...
below your stage if you wish and check it out. If you want to make sure there's no one there, you can give me a perception check as well.
Or if you wanted, I could make it foggy whilst you're testing this out, and they won't be able to see what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to go then.
So, Karius is gonna fly over, spin his glaive about, and cast fog cloud
Sure.
to hide the ship from view.
Okay.
Apparently, I'm concentrating
It's
on
actually quite atmospheric as you create this fog. It looks like the ship itself is in a foggy sea. You can even have it kind of a big portion of it resting underneath. So it kind of looks and makes it look like water.
There you go.
Uh, there you go. Concealment.
You've got an
Just seeing
hour.
that warning signs.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, I take the Helmsman Shelter off my back, plonk it down,
Uh-huh.
and give it a whirl.
Okay, so as
Beep,
you
beep.
you place the Helmsman Shelter, which by the way, I haven't, as like I said, it's very base, and so you as you place it down, it actually effectively attaches itself to the stand where where a helm would actually be, and as soon as you begin to turn it, you feel a little bit of resistance, and you realize it is actually operating something, and from behind, one of your helpers says, like, is that you changing the direction? The rudder's moving back here. But it's not
Yeah.
turning the boat, sadly.
No, I know. I've got to turn to attach it to the wheels and find a way to make it.
Huh. If we put wheels on a boat, does that make it stop being a water
No, no, no.
vessel and
I'm
more
not
a
saying
land
attach them to the boat. If we like, obviously, it's on a platformy thing to wheel it in right now, right? So that's a different structure. All we have to do is have like a rod that kind of attaches to the rudder and the wheels. Technically,
like an
still a
axle?
separate thing.
An axle. Okay, yeah, sure. We can start working on that. And they begin crafting an axle to change the direction of the wheels instead of the rudder. Well, it would be both. It would be one and the same, effectively. Then just we need someone to push it along. Something big and strong. I'm sure we can gain the assistance of an earth elemental.
I mean, if I cast levitate on it, then it shouldn't be too heavy.
Is that concentration spell or?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also not going to be enough to lift the entire boat, which will probably weigh quite a
But it
lot.
might reduce its weight.
Somewhat.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's to reduce the weight, not to.
You Genesi folk, you obviously do a lot with like rocks, but there's a lot of messed up gravity around here. Can you do anything with gravity?
Not a lot of us. There are some who are more skilled than others. If there is such one, then they're probably not under Quran or Gracious's.
No. Hopefully he would graciously buy me a graffito mancer should I need one. But
Yeah.
we're kind of running out of time.
I would say it is easier if we create if we use an earth elemental, of which the Tao have many, and we paint them to look like a wave or something that is pushing the boat.
That could work.
Give them a costume like a wave.
I mean, to be honest, then, if we had two of them, like so they were disguised as waves, do you think two earth elementals could carry the boat?
Carry it, and they are pretty strong, perhaps, yes.
Because then
Maybe they're
or if we could get three, have three to carry the boat, that should definitely be able to do it. And then you could have the rudder move maybe to give like signals to them to tell them which way to turn and stuff.
perhaps. It is on wheels already, though, so it would only need to be pushed.
True.
And then you've got a moving boat. Then you can move around the stage. We will just dress him up like a giant wave.
Can we paint the ground blue?
Yes, yes, you can do that.
I bet at least look, and then maybe no, because then it wouldn't, the wheels wouldn't go over it. But I mean, I suppose if you use
A low-hanging fog.
possibly, but I'm not going to be around to do that myself unless you can need like a low-hanging dust cloud.
Yes, yes, we could do that.
Or the other thing I had was if you have sort of a set track that the boat's going to go round, you could almost have like bits of rock that hide the wheels, but they'll be stylized to look like waves.
We could do that, yes. Or we have smoke effects, plenty of smoke effects that we can utilize.
What do you think, Andy?
mean-
What do you think's the best way forward for this? Or best wave forward, I suppose.
I mean, I originally just imagined we were going to use like fabric to simulate the waves, sort of thing.
So the
But,
boat remains still, in other words.
If the boat itself can rock a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but otherwise, I don't know. I go very artistic rather than big showy. So
Well, if Eirina has this power to actually move and turn the boat, I think utilizing it would make it artistic and showy. Like, you could have it only do a small circle around the stage. Doesn't need to be massive, or it doesn't need to be crazy.
no,
And
of course not.
if it does like a little circuit round, and they say they can create smoke effects that effectively make it look like low-hanging fog, and you can definitely use fabrics over the top of. In fact, this whole area could be one giant fabric that they sort of wave, and you can have people underneath the wave, underneath the fabric, basically pushing it, create the sense of a wave.
Because the way I kind of imagined it is in the making of Kubo when they did the waves for Kubo. It was basically a set of, it was a plate with mechanics that moved a sheet on top of it that simulated the effect of a wave or the sea. So it kind of rippled, it made the top layer of fabric move and ripple and stuff.
It is really cool.
It is
If
incredibly
you get the
cool.
chance to look at it,
because of
It's really
course
cool.
they did it in stop motion, so they needed to be able to kind of like just change it ever so slightly. But if it had like a smoother mechanical motion, like if a gear was turned and it just kind of made the entire fabric ripple up and down with the help of like these posts or something, I think they used underneath in order to create the effect. So
What's this called? Kubo.
Kubo and the Two Strings. It's by Leica.
It's one I need to watch. I keep meaning to
It's
watch.
You
so
need to
good,
watch
you
it.
guys. It's really good.
It missed out on winning an award because of Frozen.
I kind of want to watch it even more now.
It's really good. Like,
Screw Frozen.
I think it's probably my favorite Leica movie.
It is a gorgeous movie, and you know, pretty much nearly all of it is stop motion animation. There's only like some bits that were done in CGI.
Like we saw it in the cinema, and just that opening scene,
I've
which
seen
is where you learn about,
which is the scene with the waves in it.
I've seen bits of it, but not all of it.
Watch it; it's really good.
Leica's my favorite studio at this point. They're brilliant, so imaginative.
If you must blink, do it now.
Were you saying it's stop motion?
Yeah.
The waves look like they're CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It's stop motion.
It's stop
That's
motion.
how amazing it is. That's the effect that we want, is that beginning scene where Kubo and his mother are in the raging storm.
I was so confused. It looks like CGI. Oh wait, that
It's
scene.
not
Oh, I see what you're
CGI,
talking
no.
about. Okay, yeah, I see this. Yeah, so there's like four there's 4 rotating plates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do that. If you wanted to do that. I'm just saying, if you want to utilize the Helmsman Shelter, you can have it.
Yeah,
go...
we'll use that to move the boat, but the fabric itself sort
to
of
make
like
the waves.
and rather than plates, we could almost have it like the earth elementals kind of like burrow up and down to move it.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
like when
moles.
dolphins jump through
Yeah.
water sort of thing, but have the earth elementals doing that under like the sheet.
Gotcha.
That sounds good.
Pretty crazy. Okay. Damn. All right. Crazy how they did that. I'm just watching it. So
It's
okay,
sidetracked
so
by the
that's quite a
animation now.
mechanical. That's quite a mechanical feat, which is definitely going to be some roles involved in like operating that.
Well, no,
so
this is
hopefully-
why I'm saying rather than it being mechanical, we'll use the earth elementals if they can burrow up and down out of the ground underneath the sheet.
But that's
Yeah,
essentially
yeah.
the effect we want to go for.
That's what we
Sure.
want it to look like.
Okay. Well, then in that case, it would be more of a role with synchronizing their effects, which
Yeah.
they can begin practicing. So the Earth Genasi quickly head off and request the aid of more Earth Elementals, and again, of which a lot of Dao own their own plethora of Earth Elementals, and so your request is quickly accepted, and you see one of the Earth Genasi come back, probably with Doshi himself, and he's got 4 Earth Elementals, and they kind of all look at you, staring blankly, and await orders. Effectively, they are obedient.
You
Creatures
speak the
that will-
closest lingo, don't you?
You do. You speak not Terran, but you
Broken,
speak
I think.
Ignan.
But
So what? Have maybe one of them to help move the boat, and then have the other 3 making the wave effects around to disguise the fact that the boat is on wheels.
because if the fabric's light enough, while they're rolling under it, it will slowly, anyway, undulate.
Yeah,
as
that's
it
the
was.
idea.
Yeah,
So even like as they go through it, it's still going to continuously rip
Yeah.
because of the vibrations.
yeah.
Okay. So you'll have one pushing the boat, Eirina sort of steering the boat, and
Because obviously I'm going to be acting a part as well, so there will be points where I will need to stop steering.
True. And then these 3 can easily together create a sort of synchronized wave of Earth, which of course the Earth is a fabric, and it will be painted blue to sort of simulate the sea.
They're essentially doing roly-polies back and forth.
And we need...
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Who else did we
Yeah.
get come with us? We had a couple of the servants come to help us, didn't we?
You do, yeah.
One's
you've got
making
fucking-
costumes.
Well,
Yep.
they could join in and be like crew members of the ship.
Yeah,
and things
And I
like
need
that.
one of them with like a, you know, the big metal sheets to make the rumbling thunder sounds.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, they've got sheets of
We're
It's-
going
they've got,
for
like, a thin-
atmosphere.
like a
I think
thin
is
metal.
the right way of putting it.
A part of me
Definitely.
kind of sits there for a second while this is all happening, and like you've got like them practicing the waves and then the crashing thunder, and part of me just sort of goes, I pull out the bag of holding, I start diving in, and I pull out the bagpipes and just blow on them. Because that's all Llewellyn would do if he was here.
Yeah, he would.
He'd be like, I join you with the bagpipes.
Oh, it's true. Now I want to paint some waves on here. I can do
Like
that in.
bagpipes, so it's just Eirina going, brrrr.
If you even have the lung capacity to fill it.
Yes.
Some waves. But yeah, this is a really cool atmospheric effect that you guys have created, and this is just your opening, effectively. Just starting the scene with these rolling waves, thunder, and this ship riding and up and down the waves is already quite an eye-catching scene. And the Earth Elementals are practicing. They're synchronized. Sometimes they go a little bit out. Sometimes they're almost when they pull it off, it looks amazing. It really looks like there's a rolling.
I'm wondering if, you know,
tumbling
we've got
wave.
the, sorry, we've got the big crystal above us. You said it's shedding out light.
Yes.
I'm wondering if, obviously, as we're kind of going through this, if I can discreetly fire off some Eldritch Blast, but not hitting it, but just causing like smoke plumes to block out the light to make the lightning effect.
Yeah, you could create. So they say we can get a number of dust methods, and they can create a dusty cloud above you, which will effectively block out a lot of the light, and then you could flash in your blasts into that dust cloud.
Again, Eirina's not speaking at this point.
Okay.
This is me doing it as a
Sure.
does this work?
I mean, I could kind of pretend to translate for you.
I imagine that's probably the only way we're gonna.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Or-
literally just kind of testing it out by like literally firing the Eldritch Blast to see if
Yeah.
it does the effect I want.
Okay. You fire it up, and it just there's a clean air space at this point, just firing it up. But
Yeah, but my
as
Eldritch
mo-
Blast is black smoke, so it kind of blocks out the light that's coming through rather than the other way around.
it is. It doesn't create it doesn't create like what you're looking at here is 75 by 100-foot stage. So you're kind of creating more like streamers of smoke that sort of linger a little bit, but after a while they do disperse. But you have been given you've been given like a list of effects that you can utilize, and you would
Yeah.
know one of those is you can use these little dust methods to easily create a cloud of.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
dust
I was
around
just
you.
explaining how Eirina is trying to get across what she wants without using
Yeah.
words.
That's fine, sure. In fact, you could kill the dust methods and they would explode into dust.
They're trying to help us. I'm not going to murder them.
Anything for the performance.
No,
Anything
No.
murder.
Not
But they-
not murdering
they-
innocent people things at least.
That's
So we've got
elemental.
weather effects, we've got the boat going. It's just mostly our like your music, what you want to play.
I think essentially what I will do is I will use a lot of that songs he would play, but try and manipulate them to suit the mood, if you will.
So imagine the first part would be quite dramatic.
Yeah.
Like the breaking into the palace and
Like tie in some of the music, like the cultural music and the folkish music as well. I mainly want to try and use his music where I can, because he will recognize his music. And if other people start hearing it and liking it, and then maybe humming it around, and he's like, huh, how do they know that song? I only ever played that in the dry oasis, you know. So.
and we need someone to play the Sultan.
We do we have someone who is a method actor around here who would be willing to play the Sultan?
Yes, in fact, I am. And you see one particular servant step forward, and he's quite flamboyantly dressed. He's
My brain is just like kabuki style Sultan, like completely over
Ridiculous.
the top.
Yes.
Dramatic makeup.
I am an actor. An actor. I will definitely be your sultan. Should you wish.
Oversized
I will.
turban.
Yes. One that's like twice the size of his head.
I was, in fact, going to be the main act before your troop was picked off the streets of the Trimark.
And really pointy toed shoes.
Yes.
Like flip-flop ones. With jingly bells.
I see you're not
Come on,
listening to me.
give us your best Sultan impression.
Let's see. Is this the Sultan of the of Gaidir?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course. In that case, then. The War of Gaidir was fought on many fronts. We, together, one nation, purged the Did you like interrupt?
Eirina leans on the Helmsman Shelter and literally snores really loud.
What? How dare you? How dare you insult me? I am the Sultan of Gaidia. And you see like little flames.
There we go. There we go.
That's what we want. Hey.
I'll purge you like I did the armies, and 1,000 more tears will
There
turn
you
the
go.
sand
There
to glass.
we go. You gotta remember, in this version of the story, he is a villain. So really play up that kind of, I will come after you kind of.
Right. Yes. Anger is the key. I will
Yes.
tap into my inner rage.
And also
Brilliant.
probably tap into that superiority complex, Taklo says.
Sure. What does he sound like exactly? Have I got the voice down, or is it higher pitch?
That's not important. I think you've got a good enough rounded. I think if you were to copy the Sultan's voice, you're going to lose a bit of the
Oomph.
the oomph. Yes, thank you.
Eirina in her head is also like, I might actually shoot you too. So that's not a good idea.
It's like the
Alright,
deeper and gruffer you can make it, the
Okay.
more. I don't know. The more it will work. I think
Intimidating.
this
Yes.
is an interpretation. It's not a caricature, if you
Of
will.
course.
Show
Yes.
how evil fire is.
Before it is quashed by your adventurous do-gooders. I see. So in this story, am I thwarted by your?
You're not really I can't say that in her
Thwarted.
accent. I can't
You-
say it in her
You're
accent.
more.
Thwarted.
You're gonna have a precious treasure stolen from you that is vital to your
Stolen, right.
plans for domination.
Excellent.
I think.
Okay.
That where we going?
Yes, yeah. That's essentially it. You have this precious thing stolen from you, something that was important to your reign, and you need it back. Otherwise, your reign is gonna crumble, and you will do anything to get it back, and sort of thing.
Understood. Yes. Okay. I'll work on my piece. I'll
Thank you,
write up a
Papa
little script.
What's your name? Sorry.
My name is the Sultan, of course, of Gaidia. And
Well done. Well done.
That was a test.
That was a test.
He really has become the method actor now.
I'm gonna start trying to. I'm gonna go to a side where, like, I'm not gonna get anyone injured or whatever, and I'm gonna start trying to cast create bonfire, but in a way that's a bit more controlled. So it's not just like a big 5-foot cube of fire. I want to try and shape it into maybe like the shape of like a swaddled baby. So that way, obviously, it represents Andi as the treasure. Yeah.
A burning flame. Ah, okay.
But it needs to be sort of child-sized.
Child bonfire. I mean, yeah, you could get. The only issue would be like holding it, right?
Yeah.
It would hurt. It'd be on fire. It would be burning. Although,
I mean, we could use the fire version sometimes, but if someone is holding
Like,
it,
the
then
idea
we could
is-
use just something wrapped in a blanket or something.
The idea is just to, like, I could maybe make, like, a makeshift kind of, like, doll to set on fire. But then the minute the child is stolen, like, picked up, that would be Andy's mother. So the fire would then go out because the child feels safe.
Yeah.
So the fire would go out and it would literally just be a child, and no one really knows what the treasure looks like anyway. So it's just to represent that this child is like a burning flame and, you know,
yeah.
something powerful that the Sultan covets.
Yeah, you could totally create a doll if you wanted out of wood, though wood would stay on fire, so you'd want to make it out of stone
What?
so that you could turn it off.
What if you did like? What if you got someone to cast like an illusion instead, and that could be turned off rather than using actual fire, like the illusion of fire? That way, you could maybe make the effect more dramatic, like literally shape the fire.
Like in like Coco, where they simulate the fire again with the fabrics fluttering around.
And everything is on fire! And the cactus is also me.
Good. One of the stagehands pipes up and says, "Well, we have a number of gemstones at our disposal, courtesy of Haran the Greatest. We could perhaps carve one of these gems into a small doll. It'd be a magnificent effect. It'd kind of have this glow to it if it was truly on fire. Right? It'd
Okay.
like heat up, and it would have this like ambient glow. It would very much look like a treasure, or we could just create a stone doll. It's up to you." You could have literally an actual treasure, basically.
Yeah, I'm literally making the finger like number one, option number one. I'm not
Oh.
speaking, so it's...
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean,
So,
yeah. Yeah, if you carve it right, then as the flame passes through it, not only will it heat it, the flame will lick through and do some effects. I think that could be quite cool.
what kind of colored gem do you wish?
What color fire do you think you are, Andy?
Orange?
Oh, no. Okay.
She wears a lot of orange, so
So maybe something like an amber that's got like flecks
thinking
in
that.
it that could catch light.
like almost
That's
like
okay.
if it had like
Kind
gold
of like
flecks
the
in it
giant
almost.
light, but smaller.
we have
Kind of
those
like the
available.
rosin I use for my violin.
Yeah, rosin. Like rosin. Yeah, like rosin.
We
Which
have
I
those
think
in
is a
abundance.
resin.
Yeah, it is a resin.
Rosin is resin.
Obviously, mine's got gold flecks in it.
Oh, you've got a fancy one.
Yes, I do.
So there are an abundance of amber-like gems. Those are the ones used for the pillars. So they were perfect. They will be carved into a sort of doll shape for you, ready for the day. But now they give you
Is
kind
this
of
the
a
baby?
prop version.
Because of course, if you shine a light on something like that, it will kind of glow anyway.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Right. Yep. So they'll kind of have this ambient glow as it's still heated up. If it does get too hot, you can always use protection from energy, fire, and you'll be fine.
Worst come to worst, I
Alright.
set myself on fire and it's fine. That'll get attention and it won't hurt me.
Alright.
Or if you're
this
worried,
became-
I do have a potion of fire resistance.
Sorry, the violin has protection from fire, doesn't it?
Do you
Yeah,
also...
I think because we're gonna have a lot of fire and elements and stuff like that. We might need a fire marshal.
Fire? Don't worry. This Doshi speaks up and says, "This is a very sturdy stadium. If a fire breaks out, there's not much kindling, I guess. Well, aside from the boat, but there are many ways to put out a fire here in the Earth Elemental Plane. Simply sapping it of oxygen or dumping a load of sand onto it is usually
Irina's
ways
just
we deal
thinking,
with it."
yeah, they said the library was fireproof too.
Mostly a sand extinguisher is how we put it out.
Okay, the last decision we need to make is which character do you want? I assume because you've got the violin and the
I
cape.
assumed I was playing her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Considering
So-
I know his songs, I don't really resemble him because I look more like my mum apparently. But
I mean, could you perhaps use the fact that you look like your mum but play like your dad as part of the story? So have yourself essentially playing both characters in one because they were acting in unison up to a point.
yeah.
Because then after a point, because if I remember how the story goes, once you got on the boat, there was a separation, right? So then you could separate the characters there.
Your shadow begins nominating themselves. Or yeah, the word, nominating,
Volunteering.
volunteering.
Because
see your
essentially
shadow
we
basically.
need dad, mum, and maybe Smolder. And then the other characters are kind of they'll just be kind of support.
Hmm.
And of course, we've got the Sultan.
I mean, I don't know if I can pull off Smolder's confidence, but I know her, whereas I don't know the others.
Because I'm pretty sure Smolder was helping Dad quite early on. She would always say that, yeah, they've known each other since as long as she can remember. But
Okay. So Doshi says, so if we separate this into, say, acts, Act 1 is the ship, the waves, the thunder,
No,
or is
no,
that
I
Act 3?
can't speak.
So I think
Act 1.
Yeah.
Act 1 is the stealing of the treasure.
The theft, so the heist,
I mean,
we'll call it.
the one thing we might need is, because a lot of our performances, Eirina being mute, and I will be having to concentrate on using the violin, we almost need a narrator.
Ah.
So who has got good dictation, who can project their voice well?
Hmm. One of the hands can do it. Doshi says, I of course could, if you needed me to. But
I mean, Eirina, if you could write a good script, you're a scribe,
it could be arranged.
then of course the opening would essentially be then the narrator reads this out, we enact the story, and then we have a closing narration to round it out.
Hmm. Certainly possible. Or would you like to show more than tell? It's up to you.
What if instead of having a narrator to tell the story, we have, like in the opera, you have those people who just use their voices, like, so they almost like tell the story, but just using like the sound of their voice.
So opera
You
singers.
do have vocalists. You have
Yeah.
you do have a singer.
Can you write music? You could write lyrics and then I could write the music.
That I can do.
There we go.
All right. Cool. So you have a musical piece.
Is anyone else sort of? I don't know why. I just got the vision of the gospel truth from Disney's Hercules as the opening for some reason.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I don't know why. That was the first thing that popped into my mind, for like a musical opening.
Essentially similar to that.
I don't know if it'd be the gospel truth.
No, it
but
would be more in
alongside
line of
sort of musical.
Yeah. Of course, it would still be more kind of Middle Eastern kind of themed, considering that's kind of what her world is based off.
I see it being more of like the Arabian Nights opening from Aladdin.
Yes.
Dun, 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 that sort of thing, and then
Yeah.
obviously the violin sort of coming in. And...
All right. So you have it's a human female and there's a what else? There's a female Earth Genasi as well. And they seem to have the best voices out of the group as they begin practicing and enunciating a sort of tune for you. They can definitely work as vocalists. Okay, so Act 1 is the heist. Act 2 is it the ship? And then Act 3, what about a final a final sort of crescendo to send it off?
I think that will be when kind of almost think that it will work best if it would end with like I don't know what happened to Raheem when he washed up, but I can kind of see it in my head if you know those kind of like typical scenes where someone washes up on the shore and they're pulling themselves out of the sea, they're tired, they're beaten, and then this hand just extends out and it's Smolder offering her service and help to him. And then we just go on to say that, of course,
Yeah.
I can't, I think because Andi was with her mum for a little while, wasn't she, before that?
She was on the boat.
Yeah. because
With
Andi
you.
got separated with her mum and then ended up with her dad. So we could almost say something along the lines of how the story was unknown after that, and searching for truth and answers, sort of thing.
Okay.
Leave it on a
Bit of a-
cliffhanger almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
the story isn't over.
So if they want the second half, we have to win.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's like if they want the end of the story, they have to make sure we win so we can perform the rest of it.
In order to find a person who can tell us the rest of the story. Okay.
yeah, all that.
Yeah,
it's-
'cause
it's
it
Kind of like
almost-
an incentive.
It almost is like there is a missing piece of the story, because obviously you've got up until like a certain bit, then what happened, we don't know what happened to Andy's father for this huge chunk, really, apart from like he cloned himself, and then that's pretty much it. So
We know he had his head chopped off, and then we found out he was still alive. So
because so you can't tell like the epic saga that is sort of our dealings with the Sultan as the Kiarstars until
we know what happened to Raheem.
yeah, because you'd be missing a bit. It's like the Kiarstars, the missing chapters, or at least for Andy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it's going to go on for far too long, and then it'll just become an epic that will become boring.
I don't know. I once heard of a dwarven piece that lasted 100 days.
No.
And a section of 3 acts is good. A sort of beginning and middle and end. But your ending is sort of a new beginning of sorts.
Hmm.
Because we
Full
don't
circle,
know.
if you will.
We don't really know what happened after they got separated in terms of on my mother's side. We just know the father ended up in the dry oasis and he met Smolder, and at some point I ended up with him. So it's a little bit ambiguous. There's not a lot to go on. So that feels like a good stop point.
Yes. So, how are you intending to, perhaps, let's say, have you got any plans to interrupt the other performers, or is yours solely a concentrated on your own performance?
The sounds of the thunder could help distract.
Yeah, disorienting, like with the flashes and things like that, but not.
It's again, we're
Only we
going
had
for
real lightning.
atmosphere.
Yes, if only. But sadly, I'm busy. Unless, can clerics write scrolls? Can sorcerers write scrolls? Or is it just wizards?
No, you can write scrolls if you've got Arcana proficiency, I think. Something like that.
Damn.
I think it's something like that. I'm pretty sure otherwise you would never get like Scroll of Bless, right?
That's true.
It's fully, it's not fully fleshed out in 5e. In DMG, the only section on creating a magical item is about a type of.
Didn't they flesh it out more in Xanathars? Wasn't there additional magic in Xanathars? Like on creating
Oh yes,
magic
you're right.
items?
Xanathars, they did create optional rules for creating spells. You're right. It just takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So 3 days for like a second level, 250 gold as well.
Yeah.
It takes a number of days to create it.
Garrus is just Do you? Garrus thinks for a moment. Do I still have that, or did I give that all away in the end? I swear I still had part of that.
What?
My lightning stone that I can't remember the name of.
Well, they Fulgurite.
Yeah. I know
you gave that. Yeah, you gave that away to someone here in the Earth plane very recently.
Yes,
Yeah, you gave it to the
Oh, I gave it to Uti, didn't I?
Right. That's the one.
Yeah. Doshi, do you know if anyone has the ability to contain a spell somehow? Like if someone casts a spell, could they contain it for release later?
Yeah. Of course, there are items like the Ring of Spell Storing.
Do we have access to one of those?
I will have to check the vault. It is
Be-
possible.
Because
After all,
then I could give some real lightning or thunder.
Ron Gracious is a collector of rings, as it happens.
Oh, really? If he's got any others that might be useful for the performance. Karius acting like he has no idea about rings. It's
Indeed.
Karius knows.
Yeah, you've seen a few of his prized rings already. Doshi says, yes, I will certainly peruse the vault and see what I can acquire.
Yeah.
A thunderous lightning and flash would definitely be a distracting sight for some, I'm sure. So,
I think for the
yes,
most part,
carry
ours
on.
is going to be based on trying to keep ourselves from being attacked rather than doing the attacking.
A defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the nature of the story is a lot of evasion, escaping, things like that. So I think it's just going to add to our performance if they try and go for us if we evade it.
That is very true, yeah.
I did have an idea. We have some dust of dryness. If we use that to store a cube of water, then that could be released at the right point, and then it'd be a big splash that could potentially wash onto the other people's.
Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be cool. Slip
And
up.
you're
It's
sort
a
of
slippery
doing
one.
a water-based thing, so
Hmm.
you could add a little
That'd be
bit
cool.
of. In fact, when you're doing that scene, if you do it right, you could have it like the Khan and the Dower in the splash zone.
The splash zone. Yeah. Yeah.
Had a bit of
That'd be
4D effects to it.
4D effects.
Like it, the splash zone.
Cool idea. Speaking of which, I needed to roll for Uti. Well, we did roll for Uti, didn't we? On the second
Yeah, I
day.
don't think he did very well.
No,
Also,
he did.
Chris, I realised I got this magic dice at some point and I still have no idea what it does.
Where did you buy it or acquire it?
I don't remember. I just remember getting. No, it was in. I think it was
In the
in the
treasure.
Sultan's vault, wasn't it? Like the Sultan's treasure. It's also where I got these
Yes.
dusts from.
That's right. True. Okay. We'll figure that out. In fact, if we can call for a break real quick.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with some more ideas on the break and then return to see if we can put these in action and see what Uti got up to, because I think he might have some information, but maybe he got caught again. All
Right,
we'll
we will be right back. 1. Go.
And we are back. All right. So, you got your 3 acts together. You got a lot of special effects ready and preparing on a script and potentially a musical score. Is there anything else that you would like to add? We finished off mentioning that you wanted to kind of go more of the defensive route, sort of protecting yourself against potential distractions from other performers. So what kind of defenses do you think would work, or what kind of things would that entail?
Well, we're not sure what they're going to throw at us at the moment.
Yeah, that was Uti's job. So, and I remember now, Uti was the thing was going to come back on. So, uh, effectively, on the first day, he didn't do very good. The thing you do know is that there is a Zorn juggler. You have no idea what he's going to be juggling or how good he is at it. But you have come
Chainsaws.
across a Zorn. You do know what they are. The
Chainsaws exist
3.
here.
Sorry.
Kirstie was saying he's juggling chainsaws. I said, do chainsaws exist down here?
I mean,
Interesting.
he could be juggling flaming scimitars.
Potentially. But
Oh god, dancing swords.
you do know what a Zorn is, though. They are an earth elemental. They have 3 arms and 3 legs. They have a mouth on top of their head and one big central eye.
And they can move
And
through
you
the
got
earth.
they move through Earth. They have tremor sense, and you also know that they seem to have an appetite for precious gems, which they tried to steal or eat, even as you was coming into the Earth elemental plane itself. So
One distraction that might be good for that, then, if they're into precious gems, if you just maybe shoot your Eldritch Blast at the right point to highlight the big gem, it might just distract them for a moment. Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, giant shiny. No, must concentrate. Could cause
But
him to
again,
drop the ball.
we're working on not distracting, but preventing ourselves from being distracted. So if he's a Zorn,
juggler, yep.
Then he's probably going to be throwing things around. So
Yes.
we need some sort of shield system.
You would hope that you'd be good at juggling. If he threw stuff around, they landed on your side of the stage. It's probably more detrimental for his score.
No, but what I mean is, like, you know, when you see jugglers who sort of switch to different objects and then discard the other objects, that's what I'm thinking he might do. Okay. Like, oh yeah, now I'm done with these boulders, now I'm going to throw them over here and start with something else.
Speaking of boulders, looks over to the pile of boulders. You don't think that's the juggling stuff, do you?
This is the thought.
I mean, it could also be for the lithomancers and their stuff. Shaping them, etc.
But either way, if they're going to be sort of like hurling around boulders, we still need some way to deflect that. Ooh, what if we put working cannons on the ship to like shoot at the boulders if they come at us?
That sounds like a pretty cool idea.
Do we have any? Is that in the budget? Can we get working cannons?
Well, cannons are not something you see down in the Earth elemental plane.
What about catapults?
Catapults are more likely, yes.
Or ballista.
We can get those, yes.
What?
Or maybe even like a net cannon. Like something to fire
that's
a net.
not really going to... That's not really going to stop a boulder that's coming at us.
If it hit with enough force, it could wrap around the boulder and alter its trajectory and stuff.
Yeah. Because I don't have any form of shield that would stop something like that.
Remember, they are not allowed to directly interfere with the
Yeah, but
act.
as I said, if they just discard something, they're not really interfering. They're just getting it out of their performance space. Carry on. It's not really. The other thing they might do is like tremors and causing. So maybe we need to think about putting some stabilizers on the bottom of the boat to make sure we don't get thrown around.
Well, that might actually work in our favor, just make the sea feel a bit rougher.
Yeah, but I also don't want to fall on my arse.
You've got your sea legs. You got them a long time ago.
The boat is
say
only
that.
present for Act 2, though, isn't it? Correct.
Yes.
So, Act 2, you've got more of an offensive idea with the dust of dryness kind of spilling out onto the stage. If you wanted to do a defensive action on that turn, you can certainly do that.
Honestly, it all depends on like what happens at the time. I don't think we can really plan for it.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately, if Uti had given you more information, you would be able to, but he's not done a great job of stealthing around. He just
Yeah.
knows Dawn Juggler.
Well, we don't even know if the
Speaking of-
Zorn Juggler is going to be next to us, because if they're not next to us, we don't need to worry about them. Like the other group might.
Potentially, yeah.
Unless they're really bad jugglers and end up hurling the thing from like over here and somehow manage to get into our area.
Oh my god. It'd be crazy. Hmm.
let me be. Where?
Though Uti would at some point finally emerge and catch up with you guys. Yeah, you probably feel a little rocking to the boat as something's trying to bury up from underneath, and you realize he can't get through the wood. He can't earth glide through wood. He's wood glide. But he scurries off around, climbs in through one of the manholes, and yeah, you see a very skittish looking armadillo.
I'll send Tackle over to talk to him.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Is I Uti has returned.
Good. Did you find out anything useful this time?
No, they attacked me. Not only did I get caught, Uti got attacked. Look, and he points out loads of scratches and impacts on his shell. He says, "I'm seriously not getting paid enough for this. Uti is injured."
Well, apparently, and this is Tacklo, because Tacklo is not as suave or sophisticated as Karius in this sort of thing. Well, to be honest, it sounds like you're being paid too much if you keep getting caught. You're not a very good spy.
And Uti is doing best. Lots of guards have tremor sense, okay? Uti can't get past. They know if Uti is in ground.
Then don't be in ground, be in air. Or
Uti
in
can
ceiling.
Tremor sense is all around.
Yeah, but don't they have to be touching the surface that's tremoring? So if you're not touching the same surface...
Only works sometimes. If area is too small, Uti can still be caught. If area is big, Uti can go.
So what did you get attacked by?
Uti got attacked by Lithomancer. A pulled sword from stone.
King Arthur?
Uti not familiar with story. Uti saw this blade suddenly forged out of stone and attacked Uti. They thought Uti was there to steal things.
You technically were. You were there to steal information.
True. Uti saw them. Uti saw the strange pale skin and light tattoos. Uti thinks they like human, but not.
Wait, strange tattoos.
They were like square or diamond shaped.
Do those tattoos
Like-
sound familiar?
You can roll me a excuse me, either a history or a medicine check.
Damn it, I was hoping nature. It's the one I'm good at.
No, this isn't a natural thing. Though. No, it's more to do with like, do you recognize what kind of race they are? And if anyone else wants to give me a roll as
It's
well.
not terrible. That's Karius's. I'm also going to roll one for Tacklo, see if Tacklo remembers what these are. Because he might separately to
It says
Karius.
he had white hair, wore leathers.
Sounds like a drow. Out of character.
No, pale skin, pale, almost like white, chalky color.
Shadakai?
That's the kind of things you're thinking of with a 14.
Did they have pointy ears?
No. Human ears.
Huh.
Oh wait, yeah, no, human ears. Yes.
Well, that rules
I mean,
out.
if it was the Shadakai, wouldn't Candlewick have perked up at the sound of the description of the tattoos?
Yeah, but
Yeah, of
Shadakai would
which he
have
didn't.
pointy. Shadakai would also have pointy ears because they're
Yeah, that's what I'm
elves.
saying. So, because there's no reaction, it's probably not.
Yeah. Okay, so markings, chalky features.
Yes, like diamonds, some lines, some like
How
square diamond patterns.
tall were they?
About as tall as you.
I'm gonna grab like a bit of parchment and a pen and put it down and see if Uti can try and draw the pattern as best he can.
Oh, okay. OT draw. He get is. What did you pass him?
Parchment and like a quill.
He said, "Better if have chalk. Uti needs chalk.
I
Because
have
they're white.
charcoal,
No white.
but the paper's white. It's not gonna work.
Oh, fine. Give here." And Uti begins drawing out.
Just pretend where you're drawing in black, pretend that's white, and where it's white, pretend that's black.
Okay. Sounds complicated for Uti, but Uti try.
Inverted colors.
Yes.
Uti drawing. Uti draw. Oh no! Uti went off page.
See, it's the white hair that's throwing me.
Uti draw. Uti.
Maybe
good
they're
at
just
drawing.
old.
Yes.
Wait.
And where are these tattoos? Like just on their arms or?
No, all over. Like
Oh, yeah.
one bit on forehead, one bit round neck, one bit on lower torso.
What did their eyes look like?
Didn't get good look at eyes, but quite pale looking eyes.
Lithomancy.
That's
What
the
is-
earth manipulation.
Hmm.
See, for some reason, I don't know why those symbols are making me think like air genasi, but I have a feeling that a genasi would be something that also it'd be weird for an air genasi to be an earth manipulation, but I feel like it'd be something that Uti would probably recognize because he'd probably recognize genasi.
They seem familiar to me, as in, like, would I have seen it as a written language or in a book somewhere?
Um, so you could maybe rule out a few things. You've ruled out Shadokai and 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 you can, yeah, and that one. Try rolling me a history check, Eirina. See if you can recall some script or
Oh,
and it's yeah, tricky to say exactly what. I'll put it this way: none of you know this in game. None of you know what this is out of game. Actually, I Steph might, but anyway, they-
it's not letting me roll again. I think it's literally
they're not.
my computer being a butt.
Eirina sheet.
Sorry,
It was history. You said you wanted to roll, right? Do you want me to roll that for you? So,
hang on.
what do you
Roll,
want?
dang it. 18.
Oh, okay, not bad at all.
I
Right,
am proficient in history.
you are. So you're definitely ruling out anything on the material plane. You do not recognize these as symbols or as a language that you've read or deciphered from any books that you've read on the material plane. There's definitely something otherworldly, and of course, the other elemental plane is likely connected to a lot of things and other worlds. So,
My only thought while looking at it, what you've drawn,
yeah.
is does it look at all familiar to the runes on the spine of Llewellyn's book? Because he's
Oh
got
man,
some
that's a good
runes
question.
that no one can read, and even I can't read, so I distinctly remember them.
Yeah,
And obviously,
they don't. I'm afraid.
no? Okay.
No.
That's the only
Um,
thing that made me think, have I seen these before?
no. So they're otherworldly, which means they're definitely from some other alternate plane of existence. There is a particular diamond-esque like shape that you can start to see emerging continuously everywhere. Everything seems to be either the sections of a diamond, the corners of one, the
It almost seems
and
too precise a pattern. It's like a pattern of like order, which makes me think like. But then again, that's Modrons and stuff, and I don't know any humanoid races from like Mechanus.
he does say some patterns were Uti saw some patterns were symmetrical, others were not. Others were like if this is the chest, you could see different patterns that were just not symmetrical. They were just sort of like a line across one. Symmetrical on the face, like a diamond like crest, like almost like a sort of a point like a helmet. And around the collar they were kind of symmetrical, and then on the arms they were kind of just like lines, like bands, and then diamond shapes. You don't know what it is precisely. I will say with an 18, you do deduce this is from another world. They seem like a humanoid race. Um, the diamond-esque shape is obviously something to you. The way he's describing it, something tribal about it, and also the fact that they're lithomancers and they're able to draw weapons from stone gives you an idea that this is something that is.
Yeah, I've got it now. Like outside of game, I
You got it.
know what the inspiration behind it is.
Yeah, you know what they are.
Yeah.
You would understand these tribal markings and the fact that they have this lithomancy. They're likely masters of it. It's something that they've been passed down through generations. These markings and the act of the sorry the profession of lithomancy is something culturally based deeply in their ancestry. So it's obviously something Earth related, but they're not necessarily Earth genasi, and you rule that out quickly. The fact that she's kind of got this white chalky skin, white hair, light tattoos. You probably
I know
understand
who it
what they
is now.
Yeah, you might actually, yeah.
Like out of game, I know exactly who it is. I'm just like,
Right.
It seems really familiar, and that's gonna bug me now.
I will say this: they are a playable race in D&D
well, they are now.
by extension. But anyways, that unfortunately, with as much as Uti could get, Uti didn't roll very well, and that's the information that they can give you.
I can't even type it in the chat because it's spoiled. If people go looking at it, then it's just gonna ruin everything.
Effectively. Yeah. So there you go. They wore leathers, simple kind of leathers, nothing too flashy. Almost like a blacksmith's like attire, like an apron almost. But some areas were exposed, especially on the shoulders and on the back. They didn't seem to wear anything around their shoulders or arms, but they had like wristbands. But there you go. That's all the information Uti can give. Uti did not find much before Uti was attacked viciously with that weapon I told you about that they pulled from the rock.
Can I try and patch up Uti a little bit?
Yes, help Uti.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
can.
what. The most I can do is medicine check, and that's just a straight roll. So no, I don't want to +5 to that because I don't. Oh, it's a nat 20. There we go.
Hey, okay. Yeah, you look around. Most of these scratches are superficial. He just needs a bit of a polish on his shell. Looks like he got away unharmed as he probably balled up and rolled away. But maybe where the deeper marks are, you can just use some filler, or even the paint that you've got. You can paint over the scratches and
You know what I
give
want
him.
to do just for Uti is
Yes.
you know like Japanese kintsugi where they use like the gold enamel to fix things, like make
Oh yeah.
repairs in the cracks. I want to do that, but I've got some like ground up like glass blobs that I picked up in the desert from when Karius was trying to make the fulgurite.
Right.
So I'm almost gonna like bedazzle him a little bit in the teeny cracks to make him shiny.
Oh yay. Not good for Uti stealth, but Uti looks pretty. Thank you.
I mean, your stealth doesn't seem to be that great anyway, but
Josh, Uti did best.
I know. And I give him a pat and a scritch behind the ears.
Uti appreciates this.
Get
But yes,
some rest.
I've got
Maybe.
one more person to try and find.
Tact goes, maybe now you'll be so obvious they won't suspect you're spying.
Yeah. Uti hopes so. If I draw this out.
I know what
Okay.
it is now. You don't
If
even
you draw
have
that
to.
out, James, does that help? That symbol?
I think I know what it is, but yeah.
If not, no worries. Uti saw this symbol as well, I guess. That's as much as Uti can tell you. Alright, Uti goes off, wiggles away, and says he will try his best to find out one more act before the day is up. It is, yeah.
Yeah, I know what it is now. I
Mm-hmm.
probably don't know as much as Steph does, but yeah.
Yeah. I know it well because I ran an entire campaign based in that world. From 1 to 20 as well. It is, of course, Zendikar.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It is.
and the race, I won't reveal the race, but you can see for yourself who that is. So we got 1, 2, 3. The juggler, Yeah, he's got 2 more people he can look at, but unfortunately, he's only got time for 1 that you can spy on. But he'll do his best, and he
Yep.
just wiggles away into the ground and disappears.
And if he comes back, I'll pay him. If not, I will not pay him.
Oh yeah, you're paying him now, right?
I paid him for the last one. I already deducted the money.
Okay.
Yes.
Uti says this time, Uti got caught, then Uti got attacked. Uti charged double now.
Okay, if you manage to come back alive, then I'll pay you. You'll get 50.
Double? Wasn't it Uti 25 before?
Yeah, so
Wait,
double is 50.
Mm,
You said double, so off you go.
fine, he scurries down into the ground. Alright. Poor Uti. So he doesn't get caught again.
You want me to
Do you
roll a
want
D?
to... Yeah, please go ahead. Roll a d20 for Uti. Hey! You might actually finally get some good information. Alright. Uti's stealth is 1, so 16.
Yeah.
Which is enough to bypass most passive perceptions, as we were aware of.
Yeah.
But,
It's just, why did I
Great.
just send Tacklo? Tacklo practically
I know,
invisible down here.
only issue is Tackler can't get through walls, whereas Uti can. So he's quite good at invading, but Tackler is definitely better in the stealth department. All right, so before we
Okay, we'll do it for free.
move on to the meetings section of this session, is there anything else you want to add, or are you okay, sort of as a base, and then kind of winging it on the?
Yeah, it's for
On the
us.
day?
I think it's better to sort of ad lib
Mm-hmm.
as and when.
Okay. All
We
right then.
pre-plan, we tend to fumble.
Cool. But if you
Never
want
goes
to
to plan anyway.
if you want to between now and next session, sort of just plan out each act in your head, or if you have a script that you want the Sultan to read, you can totally provide that for me. And cool. We'll look forward to it next session. All right. So the meeting sections, Karius is all. Well, everyone will be there effectively.
Yep.
So we'll jump over to Haran the Gracious' estate.
Yep. Oh, God.
All right. And we'll retcon backwards for Kesh'an and Elias if they did want to do anything on the
Yep.
stage. But for now, let's go over to the meetings. So you are all. Let's pile you into the rec room. Actually, makes it easier. Okay. Take a little seat wherever you wish. And Doshi explains. Now, this I take it rehearsals went well. It is time that we see a certain fighting organizer.
Yes.
Why is there a sleeping goblin in the corner?
Don't mind Butt.
Okay. All right then. Around the Gracious will be joining us, of course. And the door opens, and you see this wealthy, powerful-looking Bell hovering, and Haran greets you all.
Good day,
And
oh
so-
gracious one.
Sounds like you're racking up quite the bill on these props. I heard an amber the size of a baby is in order.
Yes, it's a necessary part of the performance, but I mean, if you have the Khan's favor with this performance, surely that amber will then be worth even more because people want to buy the leftover props. Can even maybe get the cast to sign them, like little carvings.
As always, Karius, you seem to provide good reasoning. I shall have the amber prepared and cut for the day.
Yes,
as well
Josh?
as a number of earth elementals, which,
Yes.
well, they are in abundance, but they are expensive to keep around and keep
Doshi
bound.
mentioned something that you might have a ring of spell storing in your collection. Because apparently you collect rings.
That is true. And you see he has got a number of rings he's wearing already, in fact, on his long...
We were
I'm
considering.
sitting here, obviously not speaking. Can I just study them to see if I can identify any of them? Or do any of them
yeah.
look familiar at all?
Yeah, sure, you can give me an Arcana check.
Just while I'm sitting here. 23.
23? Yeah, you immediately identify one which has an eye on it, and as a ring of X-ray vision. You also recognize one is a ring of Earth Elemental Command, and that's quite a powerful ring as well. That's like of legendary status, but you reckon probably a bit more commonplace down in here. So, and what else? There is a ring. There's one with a shield on it. It's kind of got glittering gems. You recognize as a ring of protection, as well. And lastly, one that I say you only recognize with that being above 20. One seems to have this sort of brain-like shape to it. It literally looks like a human brain on a ring.
I know what that is out of character.
That is a ring of mind shielding as well, which basically makes you immune to detect thoughts and other telepathy sort of communications.
Yeah. It also potentially traps your soul afterwards, unless there's already a soul trapped.
Oof. But,
It's a really weird extra effect that it has, and I don't know why it has that. It's just like, seems an odd addition.
I'm just like
So, yeah.
staring intently and sketching them out.
Okay. Cool.
Not
After
creepy
that,
in
though,
the slightest.
he does admit that I do indeed have a ring of spell storing in my collection.
We
They're
were
quite rare.
we were thinking of perhaps storing some lightning magic in it to use as special effects for the storm scene.
Certainly.
As obviously I won't be taking part in the performance, so I can't provide it myself.
Of course.
I have
Doshi, if you
marketing
would
opportunities.
retrieve the ring for our performers. Of course, Master. He immediately hovers off and into the ground
Yeah.
and returns shortly with a ring of spell storing. And he's got it on like a silk pillow as he comes into the room with it.
Ring of Spell Storing can store up to 5 levels worth of spells, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Then I sort of look to Eirina and Andi. So with that, you kind of got a couple of options. I could do a lightning bolt and a shatter. I could also pull in an alter self if you wanted to, like, for yourself, Eirina, perhaps to get more into the Smolder character. Or if you wanted to really simulate a storm, or at least the winds of a storm, I could put control winds in there.
Which one would you like?
I think the lightning, because we could use it as a defense as well.
Yeah. So, lightning, bolt, and shatter, or would you like the alter self to be able to potentially, either for yourself, Andi, or yourself, Eirina, to be able to turn into Smolder or...
Well, that we're kind of more relying on costume.
Yeah, I think the lightning bolt and shatter situation
I shall
is
put a
probably...
lightning bolt and a shatter in it then.
Otherwise, it would be the costume department, so all their efforts have gone to pot.
Is the ring attunement?
It is.
Ah.
But to be honest, if you're doing the performance, you probably want one of the lesser performers to have this so they can do those effects, because you don't want to be focusing on that.
Who is the most trusted performer? I don't want to give this to someone who's a terrible shot, just in case. I need someone who's got some common sense.
But
Oh, do you
volunteer.
know what? The guy playing the Sultan, because then it can represent his like anger and his like
yeah,
wrath.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's what I
And
was
also
thinking,
it
too.
adds to his costume because having this fancy ring on.
I don't mind doing it. Hello.
I just pick up Butt, sit him under like a plush cushion, and then give him a pat on the head.
Oh, even fits on the shelf. All right. Sure. You can give it to the Sultan actor. Yeah, he seems like he knows what he's doing.
Karius is about to put Shatter in it, or I could put 2 Thunder Waves in it.
Ooh, yeah, that's a better idea.
Didn't you want flashes?
Well, I'm going to put a Lightning Bolt in, which is the Flash.
Oh, and then 2 thunder waves.
Yeah, because then you've...
Yeah.
Yeah. Because rather
Alright.
than 1 Shatter, I think... Yeah, I think Thunder Wave's actually better because Shatter is just a loud noise at that point, whereas Thunder Wave is audible up to 300 feet away, so it'll be a better distraction as well.
Ooh, that is loud. That is loud. All right, cool.
Yeah.
A ring of spell storing will have
Lightning Bolt
Lightning
and
Bolt.
Thunder Wave.
And thunder wave.
Thunder Wave times 2.
Yes.
I mean, technically... Wait, with the Ring of Spell Storing, can you store like a meta magic effect on it?
Not normally, no.
Is this a special one which allows it?
I'm also gonna say no.
Because I was thinking I could technically then keep the sound, but turn Thunder Wave into Lightning Wave. And then it's just a sheet lightning that also thunders.
Yeah, that would be sick. I'm gonna say though this is a normal ring of spell storing.
I'm now gonna put I kind of want to in a future campaign have a ring of spell storing that has like a meta magic built in, so any spells in it are under the effect of that meta magic.
Oh, that matter. Yeah, like a ring of extended spell storing.
Yeah, or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that's done. Haran the Gracious sits down on the piano chair, swivels it round, and says, "So, I'm aware that we have a number of meetings today, Dashi. What's the itinerary?" Ah, yes, we have. I'm wondering who you would like to see first. There is the pit fights that are a little sort of side thing that we have going on now. Pit fights, not normally my forte, but
Well,
I've dabbled.
we mostly went into them for the sake of Kesh'an to get his name out there so people would be hyped when they saw the performance. It was sort of like a preemptive strike for the performance.
I see. Very well then. In that case, bring them in. Of course, your master. And your my lord, he says. And sure enough, you see a herald come in. They are a headman, just like Doshi, effectively, and they announce, "Wolneu the Truthful is now in your presence, as well as their star fighter, the Brookite Mule." And you see this big, imposing female Dao. Wrong one. Female Dao enter into the chambers. Try and actually grab their tokens this time.
Karius will move out of the way as if to offer them this seat, even though it's far too small for them. But then again, their bottom half is kind of smoke and ash, so I don't know. Dust. Also, why is there just a random... Oh, is that the herald that's sitting atop Heron's head?
Yes. I'm getting frustrated. Isn't pasting their tokens. I can't copy. Go, copy. Not working. Right, I'm reloading. Bear with us. We have to roll out the red carpet.
Yes, of course. Yes. Don't want someone getting dusty down here.
I'll have you know, my estate is very well cleaned and kept after.
Honestly,
I have been noticing a few holes, like in the walls. That wasn't you, was it?
No, but I thought I saw like a mole.
Hmm. A hagrin?
Maybe.
Sorry, a chagrin?
Either one of those or I can't remember if that was in this campaign or not. Dog mole?
Yeah, that was the other one. But
Yeah.
still. Okay, here we go. So, Wallanu the Truthful enters, and the Brookite Mule, this big, imposing dwarf, he is tall, as wide as he is tall, still not wearing a shirt, just rippling muscle and scarred and bruised face. Looks like he's got cauliflower ears and, got that big, thick red beard. Probably where he gets his rage from. It's where he stores all his anger in the fires of his beard. And you see Wallanu sort of come in, bring down a large, like, great maul, and just places it onto the floor with a heavy kind of thud, and places their arms on top of it, almost like it's a makeshift sort of cane. And they say, "Ah, a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Haran. I've heard great things. You're entering into the talent contest, I hear." "That is true, yes. Seems word travels fast." "I look forward to seeing you in the show. But until then, perhaps some light pit fighting on the side might be of interest. Perhaps even to hype up your performance, as sort of a promotional piece. An exhibition between the Brookite Mule and your best fighter, Kesh'an the Mighty, was it?"
Karius just goes, Kesh'an the mighty, breaker of mountains.
Ah, yes. And mountains he broke. I saw him firsthand in the Anvil Arena the other day. Took out the Slate Slugger. I'm not sure how
Nice.
you acquired such a powerful fighter, but nonetheless, fills me with excitement. What say you to this exhibition match? And begins kind of stroking his beard. "'Tis a tempting offer, if we wish to promote. But I do wish for him to be in tip-top shape for the actual performance itself. It really is down to you, Kesh'an. But
As
you,
Kesh'an's not here, I remember Cam saying this, so Karius just sort of raises a hand as he's like meant to be managing this anyway. Just like asking if he can speak, because obviously to Dao speaking, he's trying to, play the role of the slave.
Karius, you're my expert manager in pit fighting, it seems.
Well, obviously, the original reason for us entering the pit fight was to create a bit of hype, but with the time as it is, I doubt there will be time for an exhibition match and a recovery before the Bardic of the talent show. However, perhaps as part of both hyping up performance and also hyping up the pit fight, we could perhaps have a sort of saying before and after. And if you enjoyed this performance, make sure to check out Kesh'an in this pit fight tomorrow, and then so it's sort of an after event, perhaps.
Hmm.
Because
That is
obviously,
potential.
so many people are going to be hyped up for the talent show that if you held this exhibition match beforehand, people might not go because it's like, oh, we want to save our time and save our money for betting, perhaps for the talent show. So you want their focus to be on the exhibition match. Otherwise, how much of an exhibition is it?
Only laughs at the prospect of saving money. She says, "Do not fear. The denizens of the Sevenfold Maze are beyond wealthy. I'm sure that they can afford to pay a few extra tickets to a show." She says, "But ultimately, I only wish to serve you, Haran, whatever you think is best in terms of sequence of events. In fact, perhaps we can arrange a sort of a transaction, sort of. I, of course, hold sway over many of certain council members. Perhaps I can put a good word in for your performance." Haran kind of raises an eyebrow. "And what are you looking for?" "A Dao does not simply serve another, unless you're insinuating that you should be a slave. Transaction means I'm paying you something." "Ah, yes. Insightful as always, Haran. The fight is expected to go in my favor, of course, being that the Brook-eyed Mule is utterly undefeated. But I hear Kesh'an is a sort of a wild card of sorts. My suggestion is that Kesh'an perhaps accepts that the Brook-eyed Mule is such a champion and respectfully takes a fall." You see
Cam, why are you
Haran
not
just,
here for this bit?
yeah, Kesh'an just sort of, obviously he's squirming in his seat, probably not comfortable with the idea of, what's the word? Faking a fall. Just not in Kesh'an's
Yes.
character to do that.
Hmm.
But she can see that Haran is thinking it over, and he turns to you, Karius, again as sort of a pseudo advisor. But Doshi probably speaks as his normal go-to. He probably speaks up and says, "You're looking to rig the match? That will anger most." And you see Haran just hold his hand out and stops Doshi from speaking. Hmm. If there was ever foul play discovered in a pit fight, it would. Well, I doubt much would change. The Earth plane would keep on turning. As I'm aware, you've gained a reputation as the truthful, but the same cannot be said for this upcoming talent show. Should there be any bias detected in the council of judges, then there is potential for disqualification. Even contemplating the idea could get me into trouble. And I'm looking to gain favor with the Great Khan, not trouble. While Neo takes sort of a nod and a sort of a bow of respect and says, "Of course, Perhaps then there is something else that the council can help you with. Her aunt sort of just looks a little bit confused by this, but you can see that she seems to be maybe not directing this question at him, but at the rest of you, as she kind of has a sort of a slight smile on her face, looking around. Is there any favors that the council can provide?
Karius.
I could get you close to one of them. And just for clarity's sake, you know that Chirizu, who's the slave master who knows about every slave going in and out of the Earth Elemental Plane, she is on said council.
Which council members do you have connections with?
And the first one she lists is Chirizu. Hold on. You got a second name? The title. On somewhere. Okay. Ah, the Assertive, yes. Chirizu the Assertive is certainly one I have connections with. And there are others. Ones with accounting and such.
Karius just sort of considers these points.
He kind of lists a couple more.
Yeah.
But
The thing is, as useful as it would be to get close to some of these council members for either for increasing Haran's influence or for our own reasons, it's... And Karius looks to Kesh'an, who is being unkeshanistically silent.
yeah.
I feel that for both Kesh'an and his order, it would be seen as almost a disgrace to take a fool. So I feel like if this exhibition match is to happen, then it should truly be honest on both sides, to give true honor to both sides, whether win or lose.
I'm finding it quite interesting that the truthful one is asking someone to be a deceptive person.
Yeah, it's almost like... I mean, that was sort of the hint that was given about her, is that that title is perhaps not the most accurate. It's almost like an elven sort of truthful, like a Feywild sort of truthful. Like, they'll tell the truth, but it won't be the truth, almost.
Half-truth, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the full story. Like, it's true, she has an undefeated champion.
But...
And it's true, she has connections and will help you get one, a meeting potentially with Chirizu.
Yeah.
But in an honorable way. That's
the temptation. I'm gonna have Hacklow just project telepathically into the Brookite Mule's mind. Like, just the question, are you okay with this sort of thing yourself?
he suddenly like looks around, grunts, aloud. But he can reply as a part of this, right? Telepathically?
I
Or is he
don't
sort of...
think so. I think with Hacklow it's just one way, but He just goes, just nod or shake head.
He looks like he's sort of flexing his shoulder muscle, or a joint, kind of rolls it for a moment, but in doing so,
He
he actually
shrugs.
lifts up the other one and shrugs. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that decision is up in the air for now. I know,
Yes.
kind of do want Kesh'an's input on this.
Would
I'll give you an out, and I'll say that Olniu says you need not make a decision now, of course. If you truly wish to have the performance take place first, this offer will still be open. You need not give me a definitive yes or no.
I was going to
Think it
say,
over.
if you will allow us to consider this and discuss it, then we will get back to you as soon as we are able, O truthful one.
Of course. This is agreeable. And she says, if that is all, I will not take up any more of your time. You've been most gracious to have me in your estate. But yes, we have more fights to attend to.
Yeah.
And
And Karius will say, as sort of a comment as he is, may the truth ever shine in your favor. As if
it
saying,
always. He says, "Oh, don't worry. I intend to. I make the truth mine." And she takes her leave. Haran the Gracious says, "Thank you, Walnew. I'm sure I will look forward to our second meeting, and I will give you a definitive answer then. Good luck on your next fights, and yes, sure the mule is. There's no match for the mule." Anyway, they take their leave, and Doshi says, "If I may speak freely," and Haran turns and says, "You may." I don't see what good Shirizu or any of the other council members have in aiding you. You are already rising in position yourself. It's likely that if you're successful in the performance, you may be elected to be on the council itself. Hmm. And I'm gonna roll an insight check for Haran. He kind of looks around the room. He didn't pick up on the fact that she seems to know something about you guys, but Haran seems to be thinking over somewhat deep in thought about something else, perhaps. Anyways, Doshi, you said that we had a second meeting. Was that true?
yes, this is... Gareth says this is in relation to the talent show for Kesh'an and Elias's performance, an additional piece that would be useful to gain.
And what is that beast?
A goblin by the name of Yuckmug.
Huh. Right.
He fights in a similar manner to Kesh'an, and we feel he would be useful for telling the story in a more accurate manner, rather than with the likes of illusions. Karius is making this up because he has no idea how their performance is going to incorporate Yuckmug, just that's the lie he's having to spin that's the story he's having to spin. It's not necessarily a lie, purely because why else are we just going to get this guy to buy a random slave?
Sure. In which case, you can give me a deception check.
Yep. Yeah, that's not bad.
Hmm.
Not great, but it's not bad.
It says, all right, well, we'll at least see to him. And the Tao, and Doshi says, yes, Shakif the Quiet, my lord. And he says, "Very well. Bring them in." He says, slight confusion. I believe it is that you were to see him. Is that right? I actually can't remember from last session whether you was going to his estate or not.
I think we said we'd send a message to his estate to
Right.
arrange a
Bring him.
meeting, but not where that meeting necessarily was. But
Yeah, you're right.
in terms of, because Shakif looked like quite an old Dell, right?
He did. Yeah.
I'm
Old
wondering.
wise.
I'm wondering if he's of higher standing than Haran. Like, would there be a way to tell, like, basically on like jewelry or something, that one looks like they might be
Yeah.
further up the food chain than the other?
Normally that is a good indication. However, Shakif seemed very humble in appearance. He didn't wear any kind of mantle or cloak or rings or any kind of facial jewelry. In fact, he just had a simple kind of almost like monks like attire with
Quiet in both name and nature, essentially.
Mm.
Even his appearance is quiet.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll say for the sake of brevity then the meeting was arranged to be here. And he enters in with you see the great large dhow float in. He seems to be cross-legged as he does, sort of floating with his arms sort of folded as he hovers into the room. Meanwhile, you see the tiny little goblin sort of trying to keep up with him, scampering along. He looks like tiny in comparison to him. Shakif is absolutely ripped. Looks like his body is a temple. And Jugmug seems to be a similar kind of ilk. He's very physically fit. But the sheer size and differences is astonishing nonetheless. Jugmug still kind of wearing a few of the bruises from last night's battle. He's looking much better now. He's not like being pulled along on a on a stretcher this time. He's at least managing to walk himself. But yeah, you can see he does still look kind of beaten and bruised. And as soon as he enters, he looks over to Kesh'an and, "Hey, good to see you," sort of says under his breath. Kesh'an kind of smiles and gives him a nod. You look a little bit better than last night. To keep the quiet, Doshi says, this guy noticeably does not have a herald like the other one, but Doshi introduces him nonetheless. Good. It is good to see you, Haran. It's been some time. Yes, I have not seen you since. I think we met last in one of the lower regions of the Sevenfold Maze, wasn't it? He says, yes, I believe it was. It was a ball. I think we met at. Might have been in. Can't remember the estate. I think it was being sold shortly after. It was sort of a leaving do, was it not? Yes, something like that. Now I remember. I wonder if that estate's still going, if it's been sold on. And he says, I think it was bought up by an Earth Genasi, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, very well. Anyways, on to business. You're here to arrange some sort of transaction. That may be so, but Jugmug here is one of my best fighters. I don't want to give him up willingly, but I will say that he is potentially for rent if you wish to see him used in the performance. I understand that you're running. Ron kind of looks towards Karius and says, "Will that do? You only need him for the one performance, is that right?"
Harris sort of looks to Kesh'an for a moment, considers everything else.
If I remember rightly, I think Kesh'an's plan was to take him as like an apprentice to teach him to fight even better than he already can.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Would, as part of this renting of Yuckmug, would he also be potentially available for training sessions with Kesh'an so that they can push both of them to greater heights? Because they fight in a similar way, but watching their fight, it seems like Yuckmug's got a few moves that Kesh'an hasn't quite got his knacked out, and Kesh'an has a few moves. I think if the two of them could spar frequently, they could probably, really push each other and become the best they could be.
This sounds like a good idea, but when you say meet up, well, I do have my own dojo that you could come to.
That would certainly be feasible. Perhaps, as I realized that Haran, your forte is now more towards the talent show and less towards the fighting pits, but perhaps as part of this training, perhaps we could also do exhibition matches at both Shakef's estate and this estate in order to perhaps show other things as well at that time. So market other things that might be useful, but have that as sort of an attraction piece. That way both sides get an equal benefit sort of thing. So obviously if we're always having to travel there, then it's slightly one-sided.
Yes, of course. How much for the renting, by the way, Shakif? And you don't seem to be taking much to convince Haran here. He just seems to want to get to the bottom of it. And I'd like everyone to kind of roll me an insight check here as well.
Yep. Karius will certainly do so. Karius is terrible. Do you want me to roll? I don't think I have access to Elias.
I'll roll Elias.
I can see Kesh'an's, but I know I can't roll.
Okay, I'll roll. Elias is drinking too much wine. He's just slouched and sunk into the cushions. Kesh'an is very good at insight. And so is Eirina.
The 19 is Andi, not Eirina.
Oh, is it?
Eirina rolled a 12.
12. All right. So Andy's picking up on something here. Karius just mentioned about all these kind of future prospects, and Haran seems to be kind of aloof, not really paying attention to it. Or at least if he is, he's kind of half paying attention. He's kind of looking around the room, sort of not sighing, but he seems to be elsewhere in his mind, and there's not much in terms of future prospects that really are sparking his interest. He doesn't seem like excited or anticipating future prospects. He's just sort of here to do some simple business. But he doesn't take much convincing at the very least. He's not being difficult. He's just sort of yes, hand waving sort of things. And I'm gonna roll for Shakif as well here.
Yeah. Karius sort of, although it doesn't take a lot to convince Haran, perhaps as I kind of want to do this in a subtle manner, because Yuckmug might not be needed during the entire performance, he could also help me with some of my managerial duties as part of it, perhaps.
That is acceptable. Yes, of course. If Yuckmug has experience in such matters.
And Karius, as he says this, looks sort of pointedly at Haran and then maybe just points a pinky just slightly downwards, as if to indicate like underneath sort of thing. Sort of
Oh,
trying to be
right.
subtle about it.
Okay, sure. I'll roll Haran. Doesn't seem to be paying attention during this transaction. He's not clued in on it. But I will say this though. Uh, at the very least, you don't have to convince Haran to
Yeah.
buy or rent Jugmug. That's not the issue or this challenge. I think all you need to now do is convince Shakif that. Well, it's up to you. If you want, you could totally kidnap him. You
Yeah.
could totally kidnap the goblin if that's what you intend to do.
I'm not actually sure what the final plan is at this point, because that was Kesh'an's sort of thing.
So Jugmug says that he wants to get back to his tribe.
Yeah.
That's his goal. And to do that, he needs to get out of the Sevenfold, or at least the first region of the Sevenfold Maze.
Well, to some extent, if what
He
I
wants to come
think,
with you somewhat.
if I think what is going to happen during the talent show is what's going to happen, the future prospects of either the exhibition fight or anything after, like Karius is just sort of saying these points to sort of sell the idea that they're still going to be around afterwards. But
Right.
I'm almost imagining during the confusion that I imagine is going to happen, that might be the group's point to escape and do what they need to do to get to the next layer, potentially. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but that's sort of how I'm seeing it in my head, because clearly Haran is up to something. And
I think
I'm almost certain I know what his plan is at this point. And it's just like, yeah.
Indeed. The question is, does Haran know what you're up to?
Yep.
That's the funny thing. So at this point, then you can conclude with just asking to rent Jugmug.
Yes.
And we can leave it at that. Or if you want,
Yes.
you could try and push it to sort of say, hey, what about taking him on a pilgrimage or something crazy like that? But if you're happy to just take him
for now, if we just take him at would say rent for now with potential discussion for future endeavor. Rent for the show with potential discussion for future endeavors to help both sides.
Very well. Yes.
I am just thinking, I'm sure there was a reason that Eirina wanted to talk to Shakif.
Potentially, yeah. What was that
I can't remember what it was, though. And it's really bothering me.
Shakif's been around a long time. He's very old. And you saw a book that was wrote by him in the shelf. Remember?
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what book it was. Oh, it was one about the
maps. That's right. It was a map.
Yeah.
That's what it was. He mapped out a lot of the Earth plane.
Yeah, that was it.
It
So I'm almost kind of like looking at Karius and being like pointing at Jugmug, pointing at myself, like swapsies.
Yeah, Karius sort of notices this and is gonna have Taklo just project into her head, sort of, and just nod or shake head. Do you want to go with Shakef?
Yeah, so instead of doing like a rent, do like a trade. Quote unquote, like temporarily.
Yeah. I have a potential suggestion for something other than a financial transaction for this endeavor.
Shakif immediately turns to you and you have his full attention. Haran seems to be like just sort of side-eyes you.
Yes. Obviously, we would like Jugmug for the performance. We feel he will be a useful piece for that. However, our Eirina here, while she struggles with speaking, is quite skilled in other arts, and I feel like you may gain use from her. So perhaps in exchange for Jugmug, you could perhaps borrow her, if that makes sense.
You are a scholar or an academic?
She worked at back on the surface, she worked at one of the grandest libraries in the material plane.
I'm forever a student. I wish to learn about much of the world.
I again have Taklo go, should we tell them about your book that you're writing or translating as an idea?
No. Instead, I'm going to pull out one of my mother's maps and sort of slowly unfold it.
A map? Okay, he
One of
looks
my
at
mother's
you.
ones.
He looks at you and then puts out a large palm and asks, "May I?"
Gonna just put it in his hand.
And he brings it up to his face. It's only like the size of his palm, right? So it's like a little pamphlet for him. But he looks at it. This is a master of maps. You can tell they're experienced. This is definitely not one of their first. Well, this is most intriguing. I myself used to make maps, but I think you
pull
already
out the
knew
rubbing that I have of his one.
Yeah, he says, I think you already knew this. This is agreeable. I will accept a trade of servants.
A timeshare, perhaps. Like, for
Indeed.
the amount of time we borrow Jacques Moke, you can borrow Eirina for a similar time.
Obviously, I will still be performing with Andi.
Yeah. But we will need
Well, then-
Eirina also for the performance. That'd be post-performance.
Well, in that case, I will take your hand now. And he hands you back the map. And you feel the actual ground beneath you lift up the chair. Suddenly, like the actual tile itself comes up, and you're still sitting in the chair, and you're just sort of hovered over towards him. Whereas Jakmug kind of comes over and sits down next to Kesh'an, probably on the arm of the settee, and Haran says, "All right, in that case, a deal is a deal. You never much been interested in gold, have you, Chekef?" He says, "No, the jingling of coins makes too much noise in my head." Right. Ron doesn't pretend to sort of know what that means, but he says, "Very well. Then we have our transaction done, and this will conclude our meeting. Perhaps I'll see you at another after party, should the performance go well. In fact, I hear there's going to be quite the party. I hear." Chekef says, "Yes, well, perhaps. I'm getting too old for this shit, as you well know. But we shall see." All right, Eirina, you're going off to Chekef's dojo, it seems.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But it has just gone 10.
Yeah, that's fine.
I need
That
to
seems
go.
a good place to wrap up as well.
That's good. We got stuff that we needed to be done, and next session, I think will still be a bit more downtime just before we got one more kind of day to play out before the performance itself, because that's sort of in the evening as well.
Yeah.
But and we'll relay this information to Kesh'an and see what Cam comes up with. Whether he does want to jump to this and be like, well, Surizu could be very useful. But we'll leave that ultimate decision up to him. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for you guys for joining, even though it's just the three of us. Thanks for playing.
Join us Sunday for the Carnival Cards Witchlight campaign. Join us Monday for What Lies Beneath, where we go down a different kind of winding tunnel. And join us again next Friday for the next part of this.
Awesome. All right.
Bye.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.